Hi there, my name is Stephanie and this is Couture, Costumes, and Cats. Today I want to talk about clothes that are maybe a little bit past their prime and how we can restore them to their former glory. So if you've been watching me for a while, you know that my Nona, my grandmother by marriage, was a seamstress. She was extremely talented and she's been kind enough to give me a bunch of clothes that she made for herself throughout the decades. So while those clothes are absolutely beautiful and extremely well made, some of them need a little bit of work, not only to fit my body, but just so that they can actually be wearable. So I don't need to tell you the importance of being able to restore clothing and fix clothing. And I'm so grateful that I am able to do it and that I have access to all these amazing vintage clothes. Today, the garment that we're going to be focusing on is this beautiful pair of wide leg satin pants with an elastic waist. Just hiding. What are you doing? Hi, say hi. All right, let's have a closer look at the pants. These pants, they're not in terrible shape. The fabric is still very nice. There's a few snags here and there, but that's okay because it's a printed fabric, so we won't really see that there's like tiny little mistakes. And then the other thing that we really need to work on is going to be the waistband. So it was hand stitched and it's falling apart a little bit, so we're going to fix that. And also, we're going to replace the elastic because it's old and it's not very stretchy anymore. And elastic tends to sort of dry out and lose its elasticity. The rubber will just start to break down and it won't be as effective anymore. And it could actually just snap into while you're wearing it. So I would definitely don't want that to happen. So I'm just going to, before I finish the waistband, I'm going to replace the elastic. Let's have a quick look at the fit here. It looks like it might be a little bit off. The crotch length is extremely long on me. I could pull up these pants all the way up to my breasts. So I might just turn the top a little bit further and make a bigger channel. And that way the crotch seam is going to be a little bit shorter. And I'll be able to use a wider elastic, which will create a wider waistband. Before we dive into the project, let's go over the supplies we're going to use today. So I've got some pins, which are always very useful, some matching thread because my stitching is going to be visible. I've got two types of elastic. This is the 1-inch wide. I'm actually going to use the 2-inch wide for this one. We got a seam ripper and a pair of scissors. I'm going to start by actually finding my elastic and just pulling it out. And now I have a better look at my channel here. So we're gonna grab our seam ripper and we're gonna undo the stitching at the waistband here. And we're gonna work our way all around the waistband. To calculate how long your elastic needs to be for your waistband, just go ahead and put it around your waist pretty tight. And make sure that you overlap so that you can actually sew it together. So about an inch and a half. And then use a pin and see how it sits. Just move around a little bit and see if it's comfortable. And when you're happy with the measurement, you just cut your elastic and you're ready to start constructing your waistband. So you can actually use the elastic as a guide for your waistband channel. So as a rule, you're going to want to make the channel about 1/2 inch wider than the elastic. Otherwise, it'll be very difficult to run the elastic through the channel. So when you're happy with the placement, just pin it in place. You can also use a measuring tape to measure the size of your channel. And then as you make your way around the waistband, you can just keep measuring and pinning as needed. All right, time to start sewing. So I put my needle on the far left so I can sew really close to the edge of the fabric. I'm going to use a regular stitch length, about 2 millimeters. And I'm going to sew all the way around and leave an opening about 1 inch wide to insert the elastic in the channel. Take your time with this step, especially with a fabric like satin. It'll move around a little bit. Make sure that it lies flat and that your channel stays the right size. So the next part is not super easy. If you've seen my scrunchie video, you've seen that sometimes it's not super easy to run the elastic through the channel. But using a safety pin can actually make it a little bit easier because you have something to grab onto when you're working from inside the fabric. So as you can see, I'm using my fingers to guide the safety pin through the channel, and I pull on the fabric as I go to push the elastic along as much as I can. Keep going all the way around, and when you get to the end, pull the elastic through, making sure that you don't actually twist it. And to make sure that the elastic wasn't twisted while you were working, you can actually just pin it and insert it back into the channel by just pulling on the fabric and seeing if it's lying flat. It's actually a good time also to try it on and see if it's tight enough on you before you finish off your project. And before you close off the channel, you want to make sure that you sew the elastic on really securely. So I like to do a little bit of a rectangle and then an X in the middle. That way I know that the stitching will not come undone and it's going to be nice and secure. Now for the hem, I'm just going to turn the fabric around 1/2 inch because the pants are a nice length for me, just an ankle length. So I'm going to just pin it in place and then go sew it at the machine. So for my hem, you can see that my needle is still on the left side, so that helps me sew close to the edge. And I'm just going to use a bit of a longer stitch length, about 3 millimeters. That way it's a bit of a nicer finish. And I'm just going to sew all the way around and backstitch at the end. That's it, we're done. So let me know what you think. Don't be afraid to send me questions and comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.